Well, there were grounds to impose Section 306 of aiding and abetting in the suicide of Ruchika Girhotra against the former Haryana top cop. SPS Rathore says the former CBI judge who tried that case, he spoke exclusively to NDTV. Mr. Dhanjal said he failed to understand why the CBI had turned a deaf ear to the testimonies of 4 witnesses who claimed Rathore drove Ruchika to kill herself.
As the CBI comes under pressure to slap tougher charges on SPS Rathore, Jagdev Singh Dhanjal, a former CBI judge, has come out after 8 long years in oblivion. Dhanjal, who tried the former Haryana top cop in 2001, says the CBI should have charged Rathore under Section 306 for aiding and abetting Ruchika's suicide.
These were the grounds. Even report CBI report hai, investigation disclosed after incident molestation. She remained confined to her house and remained depressed. Later on, Ruchika committed suicide by consuming poison.
Ruchika's family and friends even gave testimonies explaining how the trauma that followed her molestation eventually led to her suicide, but the CBI was not moved. Rajesh Ranjan, now an IT in the Bihar police, was the investigating officer at that time. He refused to come on camera but had this to say. We had to look for concrete evidence to prove abetment of suicide, but the girl committed suicide 3 years after the incident. And there was no suicide note, no dying declaration. But in 2001, Dhanjal took note of an application moved by Madhu Prakash, a close family friend of Ruchika's, and ordered the inclusion of Section 306. Rathore's legal team, however, got the High Court to strike that order down in 2002.
Judge Dhanjal was probably one of the victims of the Ruchika trial as well. 8 years after he gave his verdict, he's been reduced to practicing law here at the Patiala courts. And while he still believes in his heart that he did the right thing, the question is, will the authorities finally take some corrective action?
Sources say Dhanjal had a good service record and had been a judge for 18 years before he was made a CBI judge. But 3 months after this judgment, his annual confidential report was downgraded. Usually judges are given 2 5-year term extensions after 50 years of age. But Dhanjal never got one.
I'm very unhappy with the way the charges were framed and the way the trial was conducted and the way the accused has been punished. I'm unhappy.
While the public pressure has ensured that Rathore does not virtually walk free, the roles played by various other officials to scuttle the case cannot be overlooked. With Siddharth Pandey, Mukbil Ahmed for NDTV.
Tuba.com